Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This will be part 2 on the instrument cluster for John in California. This is a 2000. Let me get the information. I have it here. Oh no, this is actually not the correct one. Give me 1 second. John from California says the gas gauge, lower icon lights not working, tachometer and temperature gauge. So I made a first part video where I was able to reproduce the customer concerns. I have to order parts, and this is a very old cluster, so it took long, but they're all now here, and I'm doing the test now with the cluster looking like brand new and all parts installed and everything working good. As I normally do, I'm going to show you, well, first the cluster, make sure that we can see that properly. Let me just get you here. I'm going to turn some of the lamps off, and you're going to notice that because I have to do that so you can see when the dim lights or the lights on the cluster comes on. But before we do that, let me take you over to the information. Got a lot of photos in here. All right, so this is the information, and he's from California again, code P0462, gas gauge reading incorrectly, no issue with fuel pump or new PCM. Lower icons on both gauges are not lighting up, startup or when driving, no lighting both icon, battery icon, gear position icon, etc. And yes, I was able to reproduce. The gas gauge was actually working good, but I even replaced all the separate motors, so everything is brand new there. If you want to see the part 1 on this test, I definitely will put it on the description of this video. You can look for that one. Let me also connect to the scanner. I want to show you the wire diagram since I have you here. So on the right side, on the left side, we have all the instrument cluster connections. This has 4 connectors, only 3 are populated. So C1 with 26 pins, C2 with 16 pins, and C3 with 23 pins. Sorry. On connector 1, I have the grounds on pin 2, 14 and 15. The CAN B bus, which goes over to the module that you see on the right side. That's the front control module, and I explain that one in a second. And then powers on pins 24 and 25. Those are hot all the times. In connector 2, I'm not really using any of the signals in there. Just in connector 3, we have a power on pin 14, an ignition on pin 15, and then a constant battery power on pin 26. That's all I need to do the test here. On the right side, let me now move this full screen. This is actually very nice from Identifix and Bosch actually to do this. So the module you see in the pictures is the front control module that connects directly to the TIPM. The totally integrated power module, which is the fuse box on the engine bay. Oh, let me take the scanner out of there. So this has that main connector on the top, which are marked. All the pins are marked. So I'm having a constant power on pin 3, those flat looking terminals right here on the top where I'm moving that hand, and then the rest ones are round pins, and the next connections are on this one that has 24 pins. So I am having again a power on pin 3 there, and then a power on pin 15, an ignition on pin 17, and ground on pin 18, all on that big connector. On the small connector, sorry, all I have plugged in there is the CAN B bus, which is from the instrument cluster to the front control module. So like that, I can talk with the scanner, because there is actually no connection directly from that bus over to the DLC or the OBD port. Actually, the front control module is the gateway to have that communication in place. So I have pin 2 and 3, which is the CAN B bus that comes from the instrument cluster. And then the scanner communication happening in pin 5 and 6, which goes over to DLC 6 and 14 accordingly, positive and negative as it shows in there. So, all right, so let's do the test. Let me put the scanner back in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is power up battery and now ignition, and we can see the cluster coming on. So the first thing I'm going to do is, well, the lights just came on, and I think I'm going to have to turn everything off. because otherwise you would not notice that. So let me power this off one more time so you can see the difference, because it takes a little bit of a time, like I think it's like 5 seconds or so for those to come on, because it uses a transformer. This is a special, the whole phase that you see where the needles are is actually a light, and it's perfect. It's in perfect condition. I didn't replace that. It's not necessary to do that, because you can see there is no missing areas. When you have a bad one, sometimes the fluid inside here, it goes into one section and you see like lines and stuff like that, and that's when you need to replace it. In this case, it's good. So I'm going to turn the lamps back on. In the office now you can see better, and myself too. Let me put the same view you have in my screen here. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is all the indicators. So we'll see if all the lights come on, which is the same thing is going to happen. This is a message. So I'm going to set it on, and we can see that all icons are now there. So again, the battery, the seat belt, the high beam, high beam, I think those are fog lamps, and all the indicators in here. I forgot to mention this has 488 miles, and everything is all working good in there. All right, so I'm going to now exit the screen on the scanner. The next, I'm going to test on the chime, which is, the audible alarm when the door is open and stuff like that. So I can actually put that on. I'm not sure how much it's going to pick up this microphone, but I'm going to do a slow continuous, and it's working perfectly. So that is working beautiful. Beautiful. The illumination, I don't need to change that because we already saw that. So let's do the fuel gauge test. I'm going to go from left to right in that order. Fuel gauge on the left side. So I'm going to 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, and then 100%. So you can see how the needle moves everything perfectly. I'm not sure if I can write the numbers. No, I cannot. It's just manually selected. Let me see. Let's see, can I do 50? No. Let me exit. And you can see the needle came back perfectly. Let me try it down one more time and see if I can actually put a number, because I would like to go to 50%, which is the 50, the half a tank. A little odd that they do. Yeah, no, I cannot. You see, even though it populates, this is not letting me type anything. So it's in increments of 20%. So we already did the test on that one, so no need to do it. All right, the next one is going to be the speedometer. And in one portion that wasn't working in here, it was the PRNDL displays, which I'm going to activate shortly. All right, 20%, 40, 60%, then 80%, 100%. And you see how it's perfectly in 140 because I already reset the needles. Everything was out of this cluster. I can show you pictures of the entire board out because I have not done that, but let me actually put them on the screen so I can show you quickly that. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to take the scanner out of the way for 1 second to show you that. This is a high definition picture. I got a special camera that I use. It's the Hasselblad. It's a 100 megapixel camera with a very strong lens, and I can zoom in here. And the reason I do that is because I like to keep all the records of every single component there is in here. I can read everything perfectly. I hope that you can see on the screen, but you can see even particles of dust in the board. That's as much as resolution these pictures have. And I do that for all the components at work. So this is the one side. It's pretty easy to access. In this side, this is where you remove, or I remove all the needles, and I took a picture again of all the board to see, all positions on components. And again, if I zoom in, I'm going to show you how much information is in here, because again, I can read, and now you can too, this 472, 221, 472, on all those resistors and values and where the pads are going. I actually been using these myself to analyze if it's anything that I want to pick up, because in the microscope, the view is very small. It's, you know, you can move the board around, right? In here, I got, you know, a very nice high definition picture of the entire board. If I want to zoom into one area, I just zoom in there and I can like, well, that looks suspicious. Let me take a look into the microscope, and it works really well. So, because this makes me faster to repair things. All right, so let's go back to the test, guys. I wanted to share this with you as well. All right, so let me put the scanner back in the meter. So we already did the two first motors or gauges. Let's do the tachometer. Now here. All right, 20%, 40, 60, 80, and then 100, which we can see the needle perfectly in the 7,000. And then we exit and we expect to see the needle coming back nice and soft to its position, and it did. And then last of the gauges is going to be the temperature, which is the last one here. %, 40, 60, 80, 100. All right, so all the gauges are working 100%. And then the last test that I want to do is show you the PRNDL display, which this was not working at all for him. This is just an on and off. So we can see now the PRNDL coming on and then off. All right, guys, this is just a short test. I want to share as much as information I can with you as well. This is sometimes interesting to know the connections and everything, but you can see that everything is good to go, John. I will contact you shortly. Sorry for the delay, but all vehicles, all clusters like that, sometimes it's hard to find a part. And I am actually fixing your component. This is a very, very important. Sometimes people are, oh, I can order one from eBay and program it to the car. Well, yes and no. The thing with doing things like that is you're inheriting problems on the other vehicle. So yes, you're buying a used component. This is now like a brand new module, because I replaced capacitors, diodes, voltage regulator, transformers, stepper motors. This is a full repair. Clean the board, clean the lenses. This is going to be installed on the car with zero dust and looking like brand new clean. And it's your cluster. So you know if anything was acting up or so, even though I replaced pretty much everything, you know. And this is going to last, what, 2008? What is this year? I think it's a 2008. Let me just see in the notes. Yeah, 2009. So it's 15, what is that? 17 years old? I hope I'm saying it right. Yeah, 17 years old instrument cluster. So now it's going to be for probably another 17 years with no problems. All right, guys, thank you so much. If you have any instrument clusters or computers that you need to send for repairs, automotive or marine, please contact Mike Salazar Diagnostics. It's the same name as in the YouTube channel. That just add the .com. I have a full website. In there, you have all my contact information. Let me just show you the website. 1 second. All right, this is the website. So as you see, MikeSalazarDiagnostics.com. In there, you have right under the big letters on the center of the screen right now, on the left side, you see where it says click here, fill this form to send a module. If you click there, it's going to open a Word document with all my information, return address, warranty policies, payment options, and I explain everything in there as much as I can. And before you send anything, please email me. You have my telephone number in there, up here, and my email. Everything is in there. So please contact me first. So if I need anything more to be tested in the car before you send a component, then we can do that. Because reading fault codes is sometimes not really helpful. So I need sometimes a little extra testing, or at least to know if you did the test prior you send something. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.